My name is Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage, and today we're gonna list 65 bands and artists who should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But first, please like the video, subscribe, and leave your comment. Tell me if you agree with this list or not. Well, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was created in 1983. They started inducting people into 1986. And during those first decades, they were pretty, they're pretty loyal to rock and roll, I would say. They really inducted the people who should be inducted, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the early acts from the 50s, and etc. But during the past 2 decades, I would say they're opening for everybody, for people from other music genres. I mean, Dolly Parton was inducted. Many hip-hop and rap acts were inducted. I mean, those acts have their own Hall of Fame. They shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're not rock and roll. But anyway, the thing is, they've taken the place of bands who should be there for ages already. And today we're going to talk about a few of them. I'm going to list 65 bands who should be there. So let's start. The first one, UFO, one of the most influential hard rock bands of all time. They should be there a long time ago. Number 2, Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden's not there yet. And many of these bands don't give a fuck about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And maybe that's why they're not going to be inducted at all. Iron Maiden said they don't care. But anyway, they should be there a long time ago. Metallica's in there. Black Sabbath's in there. Iron Maiden should be there. Number 3, Thin Lizzy, one of the most influential bands of all time. I mean, Phil Lynott, what an incredible frontman he was. They're not there yet. Mind-blowing. Number 4, Steppenwolf. I mean, just for Born to Be Wild, Steppenwolf should be there. They're not, and they're much more than Born to Be Wild. They should be there. Number 5, Supertramp, one of the most influential and best-selling progressive rock bands of all time. They should be there. They're not there yet. Number 6, Scorpions, probably the most successful German band of all time, one of the best-selling bands of all time, one of the most influential bands of all time. Scorpions not inducted yet. Number 7, Quiet Riot. Well, Quiet Riot might not be the most best-selling band of all time, but they were the first band to reach the top of the charts with a heavy metal album, which was Metal Health, and they're not there. Number 8, Rainbow. Deep Purple's in there, but Rich Blackmore is one of the few artists of the history of music who were able to be successful with a band, leave that band, and then be successful with another band. And he was extremely influential. I mean, Rainbow, it's one of the most influential hard rock and heavy metal bands of all time. And they're not there yet. And that led us to Dio. Can you believe Ronnie James Dio is not on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Black Sabbath was inducted in 2006, but only the original lineup. Dio wasn't part of that. He was not inducted. Rainbow was not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Dio, his band, or even as a person, he wasn't inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a shame. It's a crime he's not there. Number 10, Rory Gallagher, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, one of the best, not there. Roxette, one of the greatest duos of all time, one of the best-selling duos of all time. They are the second best-selling act from Sweden. Just ABBA is above them. They're not on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Motörhead, they're not one of the best-selling bands of all time, but they are one of the most influential bands of all time. Many of the bands which were already inducted into the Hall of Fame wouldn't exist without Motörhead. It's a shame. Number 13, Mountain, one of the greatest trios of all time. They're not there yet. Number 14, Grand Funk Railroad. What can I say? One of the most important American bands of all time. They're not at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Number 15, Motley Crue. They don't give a fuck, but they should be there. They're one of the most important bands from the 80s. Nazareth, one of the greatest bands of all time, in my opinion, hard rock bands. They're not just those famous covers they did, The Love Hurts and etc. They have many incredible records, and they wrote many incredible songs that were crucial for rock and roll music, especially hard rock. Oasis, they're one of the most successful bands from the 90s. They should be there. They were extremely influential as well. Pantera, one of the most important heavy metal bands who achieved fame in the 90s. They're not there. Phil Collins, can you believe that? He was inducted as a member of Genesis, but he sold as much albums as Genesis did on his own, only in his solo career. He's not there yet. Peter Gabriel was inducted already. Free and Bad Company, two bands led by Paul Rodgers, one of the greatest singers of all time. And those two bands were extremely influential. They're not there yet. Alice in Chains. Many grunge bands were already inducted, but Alice in Chains wasn't, and they were extremely influential as well. America, another incredible band. Although they're called America, they're from the United Kingdom. But I mean, Horse with No Name, Sister Golden Hair, so many incredible songs. They sold a huge amount of albums. They're not there yet. Accept, another very underrated German band who should be inducted as well, in my opinion. They have an incredible first era with the classic lineup, and they were revived during the past 2 decades, releasing many great albums. They're not there yet. The B-52s, another quite underrated band in my opinion. They were extremely influential, and they should be there as well. I mean, now 2 incredible Canadian bands. 2 bands which had Randy Bachman as a member. The Guess Who, Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman. I mean, American Woman, No Sugar Tonight. I mean, the amount of classic songs and extremely influential songs they released, and they're not there yet. The Guess Who, I mean. And Bachman Turner Overdrive, the band Randy Bachman created after he left Guess Who. Another incredible band, an influential band, not there yet. Number 28, Badfinger, another extremely underrated band which had many incredible albums that were extremely influential to a lot of people. Not there yet. Billy Idol, he should be there. He is probably the most successful artist from the MTV era. He should be there. And Steve Stevens should be inducted with him, another incredible guitarist. Blue Oyster Cult, one of the most influential hard rock bands of all time. They should be there. Boston, one of the greatest debut albums of all time. Boston should be there. Tom Scholz, one of the, what a genius. He should be there. He's a part of Boston, integral part of Boston. The Cult, another fundamental hard rock group. They should be there as well. The Damned, one of the most important punk rock bands of all time. The Ramones there, Sex Pistols are there. They should be there. Whitesnake, one of the most important hard rock bands of all time. Dave Coverdale should be there. He was inducted as part of Deep Purple, but he should be there with Whitesnake. The Dead Kennedys, another extremely influential punk rock group. Not there yet. And I mean, they were really, really influential. I would call them the American Sex Pistols. Totally. They're not there. Echo and the Bunnymen, another quite underrated band in my opinion, which achieved fame in the 80s, and they were extremely influential in their field, and they should be there as well. Another incredible supergroup, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, one of the most influential progressive rock bands of all time. They totally should be there. Keith Emerson, 3 amazing artists who should be there already. Not yet. Faith No More. I mean, they're inducted bands way younger than Faith No More already. The Foo Fighters are there. I mean, how come Faith No More is not there? What an incredible band. Another quite underrated band, which is a Dutch band, Focus, mainly instrumental, but I mean, how many incredible songs they did. Hocus Pocus is one of the most famous rock and roll songs of all time. And their genius, Thijs van Leer, he is just an incredible artist. They're not there yet. Foghat, another quite underrated and extremely influential British group. It should totally be there. I mean, just for Slow Ride, what a classic song. Everybody heard that song at one point in their lives. Even though they don't like rock and roll, they should be there. Another incredible Dutch band, which is quite underrated in my opinion, Golden Earring. How many great tracks they released. They should be acknowledged. They should be there. Iggy Pop, he was inducted as part of the Stooges, but he is a very influential and extremely successful solo act. He should be that as a solo artist. INXS, another Australia band which is quite underrated, which was extremely successful, was extremely influential. They're not there yet. The Jam, another quite underrated British group. They should be there. Paul Weller, what an incredible artist he is. They should be there for ages already. Jethro Tull, it's criminal that Jethro Tull is not in there. So many incredible progressive rock bands, and they are one of the biggest progressive rock groups of all time. They should have been inducted a long time ago. Joe Cocker, another extremely influential artist. He was one of the biggest voices of all time. He was one of the most influential singers of all time. Not there yet. Johnny Winter, one of the most incredible blues guitarists of all time. You have Buddy Guy, you have B.B. King, you have so many incredible guitar players who are already inducted. And singers, bluesman, Johnny Winter was not inducted. He was extremely influential. Living Colour, another incredible band I had the chance to watch recently. They're like a super group, you know, and so many influential bands, and how many, you know, important lyrics they wrote. And, you know, they're just an incredible group who should be there as well. Megadeth, Metallica's in there. Megadeth should be there. They didn't sell as much as Metallica sold in terms of records, but Dave Mustaine, you know, thrash metal exists, and namely because Dave and obviously the other Metallica artists and all the other thrash metal scene, all the other guys from the thrash metal scene, but Dave Mustaine was fundamental for Metallica to achieve fame. And I mean, he was kicked out of a band and he created a huge band as well, extremely influential. Not there yet. Men at Work, another Australian band which is quite underrated. They should be there. Colin Hayes, an incredible songwriter. How many hits they had. They were extremely influential as well. They should be there a long time ago. Another Australian band who should be there a long time ago, Midnight Oil. What an important band. There were, you know, their lyrics is just incredibly important, and they're just one of the greatest bands of all time in my opinion. They should be there. Another band that didn't sell as much records as most of the other ones, but they were extremely influential, the Misfits. They're not there yet. I mean, how many bands wouldn't have existed without Misfits? They were extremely influential. The Mission, another quite underrated band, I think should be there as well. From that 80s movement, those kind of that kind of goth sound, and they're extremely influential. Wayne Hussey, what an incredible musician. The Mission should be there. The Pixies, they didn't sell as much records as many other acts, but they're extremely influential and they should be there as well. Procol Harum, I mean, White Shade of Pale, one of the most incredible songs of all time. Just for that song they should be there, but they had many other incredible records. They should be there. Sadly, most of the members are dead nowadays and they can't go. That's the main problem with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, when someone dies, the following year they induct them, you know? It's crazy. Another one, Sammy Hagar. He was inducted as part of Van Halen, but he was part of Montrose, and he had a extremely successful solo career. He should be inducted as a solo act as well. Totally think he should be there. Another incredible band from the new wave of the British heavy metal, Saxon. They should be there. They were extremely influential to many other bands. They're not there yet. Another extremely influential thrash metal band, Slayer. They're not there yet. They should have been there a long time ago, but I doubt it. They will be inducted one day. They should. Another one, Status Quo. Status Quo is not that incredible boogie rock they started to play from the 70s on. During the 60s, they were a total different band. They're one of the most incredible bands of all time. They have a really crazy career. They changed their sound and they became even more famous, and they should be there totally. The Sweet, one of the most important glam rock bands of all time, in my opinion. You already have T-Rex there and many other incredible glam rock groups. They should be there as well. Total should be there as well, for sure. Just for Africa, what a smash hit it is, and many other, Rosanna, and many other, Hold the Line, and many other great songs they have. They should be there. Steve Lukather, the guitarist, he is one of the most incredible session guitarist of all time. He played in so many sessions and so many incredible things. Jeff Percato, who was the drummer, also an incredible session drummer. He played with Pink Floyd, with Michael Jackson, so many great acts. Another incredible glam rock group who should be there, Slade. They were one of the most underrated bands of all time. Nodie Holder, what an incredible vocalist he is. He should be there as well. Slade should be there. Twisted Sister, you might say, oh, they shouldn't be there. I think Twisted Sister should be there because, just for I Wanna Rock, and I'm Not Gonna Take It, they're just, and those video clips, they are part of the 80s memory of almost everybody. Those two songs were extremely influential. They were extremely influential as a band, and they should be there as well. And the final band I think should be there is Uriah Heep. They're one of the most influential bands that mixed hard rock with progressive rock. David Byrne, Mick Box, Ken Hensley, and many other incredible members they had. They should have been there for ages already. And that's it. I hope you liked the list. Tell me if you agree with it. Tell me if there's any other band or artist you think should be there. And let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, and I see you later.